Hi. So I wanted to talk today about something that I have found to be the most foundational component of any practice of peace and awareness. And that is stillness. Most every client I work with, most every student I work with, at some point very early on in the work, I ask the same question. And the question is, how much stillness is there in your life? And whenever I ask that, universally, I think that's like 97% of the time, some large percentage of the time, when I ask that, there's always a sigh, an audible sigh, and a relaxation of the body. And then the response, some form of not enough. Like inherently we know that stillness is a critical foundation to our clarity, our peace, and our knowing of our truth in the world. Because it's really within this stillness that we find the true self that we are seeking. The very nature of our being, what we already are, is not found out there in the experiences. It's not found in our successes. It's not even found in our relationships. The very nature of our being is found, is encountered within the stillness. So I wanted to talk today about two types of stillness. This is a subject that, full books are written about and lifetimes of study are devoted to. But I want to spend about the next 10 minutes talking about two types of stillness. And the first type of stillness is a transient state of stillness. So states of mind, mental, physical, and emotional states of stillness that come and go. Anything that's a state comes and goes. We move in and out of different states. So I want to talk about that. And then also I want to talk about the imperishable stillness of our very being, the imperishable, unwavering stillness of consciousness itself. Meditation is the practice of stillness. Meditation is the practice of stillness that allows us to be quiet enough to encounter the revelation, the blossoming, the unfolding, the flourishing of the imperishable grace of stillness that we are, the very peace and wholeness that we are is in a state of stillness. And meditation is a practice of stillness that we can utilize so that we come to know ourselves as stillness. So, little practicality here. How? So, how do we practice stillness? So I want to talk first about the body, to bring the body to rest. And this is what most people believe is when I speak about stillness. It is typically initially understood as stilling the body and stilling the mind. So stilling the body, there's many different techniques that one can utilize. One of the simplest ones I have found, and that most meditators have found, is the utilization of the breath. And what I mean by the utilization of the breath is I mean being able to use the breath as a pointer, as a point of awareness that compels or that initiates a bit more stillness. So when you go to the breath, one of the beautiful things about sitting in a meditation and starting with bringing our awareness to the natural and effortless cadence of our breath is that the breath is one of the most beautiful examples of non-doing. It just happens. We don't have to be anything special. We don't have to do anything special. In fact, the less doing and the less efforting there is, the more we notice that the breath just is. It's a beautiful way of coming into a relationship with beingness, with non-doing. So we just bring our awareness to the breath and notice it. Feel it. And be with it. So that's one way to start to bring some calmness into the body. It also starts to bring calmness into the mind, because when the awareness is on the breath, it is less apt to be on the cascade, sometimes relentless cascade of thoughts. And we teach in meditation that it is not necessarily about emptying the mind of thoughts, because good luck with that. And if we are efforting to do that and struggling to do that, we find that we are no longer meditating, but we are simply struggling. So it's not about emptying the mind of thoughts. It is about recognizing that all thoughts are empty. They're just habitual movements of the mind. And typically it's just the mind assessing the world for its opinion about the world, its ideas about the world. And we can notice them and not need to chase them or be pulled by them. A further stillness of the mind is found typically through metaphors. Metaphors are beautiful. They're such a wonderful tool. The mind works well with objects. It needs to see things. It needs to imagine things and then feel interrelationship to those things. If I say imagine a baby lamb, a little cute baby lamb with its big ears and all fluffy, or imagine a baby panda, really a baby anything. Immediately when you just imagine that, you feel a sense of tenderness. You feel a sense of joy. You feel a sense of innocence and happiness. So, and all you did was imagine it. So what we're going to do is we're going to utilize a couple of different metaphors to imagine stillness. And when we imagine stillness, we will feel the stillness. So the first is we're going to talk about the stillness of the sky, the stillness of the ocean, the stillness of a pond, and the stillness of the wilderness. So while we're sitting and we've brought our awareness to our breath, the absolute natural cadence, the non-efforted breath, we can then play with different images, bring them to mind, bring them into our imagination. And the first is the sky, recognizing that the sky is always at peace, beyond the storms, beyond the coming and going of clouds. And when we feel into that, we feel into, oh, wow, yeah, the sky is always at peace. It's not disturbed by the storms, is it? And we feel into, what is it? What does sky feel like? What is the nature of sky? What does it feel like? And we might find ourselves being a little bit more still, because the sky is constantly, perpetually still, beyond the movement of weather patterns. Another one that may work for you, and some of these work more for some than others, so you find what resonates the most for you. Another is the depth of the beautiful ocean, the depth and vastness of a still, blue, calm ocean, upon the surface of which there may be waves. Waves are just a modulation of the stillness. They're just a movement of the stillness of ocean. And so you can play with that. You can imagine just sinking down 3 or 4 feet down below the turbulence of the waves and finding a imperishable grace, a permanence of stillness that is the wide open, vast depth of ocean. So that was the one that worked for me for many years when I wanted to bring myself more into a state of stillness, was resting down, just letting myself sink down 2 or 3, 4 feet into a beautiful Caribbean blue of ocean. And it didn't matter then if there were waves on the surface. And then you feel into, what does that feel like? To know I am that. Oh, I am the ocean. I'm not all my thoughts. I'm the stillness beyond the thoughts. Another is a pond. To imagine a beautiful, beautiful pond, absolutely still, reflecting the plants around it, reflecting a little bit of the sky, just the absolute beautiful, still pond. But then things move. A dragonfly lands on the pond or skips across the pond and ripples go out. A acorn falls from the tree into the pond and plops into the pond and ripples occur. But the ripples come and go. If you don't attend to them, if you don't try to smooth them out with your hands, if you don't try to take the ripples and actively try to smooth them out, which won't work, if you just leave them alone, the pond returns to stillness. And you can feel into that, feel into the peace. And you always notice my hand always goes to my heart. It's where I feel the beautiful perfection of the peace and stillness of the pond, unperturbed by the occasional ripples. And finally, the wilderness. You can imagine sitting up on a vantage point, on a hilltop, looking out over a vastness of wilderness. And remembering in that moment, oh, the majority of the planet is at peace. The majority of the world is in a beautiful state of authentic peace. I live here in Sedona, and I sit up on top of the rocks and look out, and there's the hamlet, the town of Sedona. A lot of hubbub and movement and people and shopping and things happening. But we are surrounded by vast swaths of endless wilderness that is very much in its own state of stillness. So we feel into any of those, and we start to come to rest in a sensation of stillness. The mind quiets. It may not be completely quiet, but you can just treat the thoughts like clouds moving in and out of the sky of stillness. And the sky isn't perturbed by the clouds, isn't attached to any one cloud formation, allows all clouds to come and go, arise and pass. So we have brought ourselves more into a state of peace, a state of stillness. What begins to happen in this practice is that as you rest in stillness, you start to really recognize the imperishable nature of stillness. That thoughts come and go, but the stillness remains. Emotions come and go, but they come and go within a presence that remains. There is an awakened stillness behind or beyond every thought and every emotion. You can think of the mind and emotions, thoughts and emotions as movements, ripples on the pond of stillness, waves upon the ocean of stillness. A clamoring group of hikers walking through the stillness of a wilderness. They come and they go. The wilderness, the stillness, the peace remains. The clouds come and go. The peace and stillness of the sky remains. Ripples and waves come and go. The stillness of the pond and the stillness of the deep ocean remain. So what we're doing with stillness is we are practicing states of stillness and resting in those states of stillness until we come to know ourselves as stillness. The true essential nature of our very being is the stillness within which thoughts and emotions arise and pass, come and go, are born and die. So the invitation here is to rest in stillness until you begin to awaken as the imperishable, unwavering grace of your true being. And you can think of grace simply as stillness in motion. We are the unwavering stillness of awareness within which our thoughts and our emotions dance. In these meditations, we just become more aware. We pull our awareness out. We just become more aware of the imperishable presence of an unwavering stillness within which this human experience is unfolding. Beautiful. Blessings. Enjoy your practice. If you like this video and you'd like to see similar content, please subscribe to my channel. You can also click that like button down below, and that's going to make this video more available to more people. Also, visit me at my website, chessedwards.com. There's a link to that down below. There you are going to find valuable resources for living a conscious, peaceful, and powerful life. Also, there's going to be information there about how to work with me one-on-one and how to build your own 3-day custom private immersion retreat with me right here in Sedona, as well as information about upcoming group retreats, virtual retreats, and so much more. And I got a few free gifts for you. Thanks for watching.